I like it a lot. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I wanted to do kind of a tribute to those of you that have oily skin, because I also have oily skin. And if you're like me and you're into makeup or you wear makeup, you've probably had a difficult time finding products that work for you and products that play nice with each other. Normally on an oily skin type, after a few hours, if you don't use the right products, that stuff will start breaking down and it'll start looking really crappy. You'll see breakdowns around your mouth, around your nose. I would say most people have issues right through their T-zone, which is fairly common. So I wanted to come up with some products for you guys today, some recommendations that maybe you can take away from this video if you do have oily skin. I hope you consider subscribing while you're here, and if you do, don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way YouTube lets you know every time I upload a video. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So I really don't want to spend too much time on skincare. I just want to kind of glaze over it really quickly because I do think it's super important when you're prepping your skin for makeup. Before we even get into moisturizer, a couple times a week I'll use like a mask to kind of regulate my skin type just a little bit. It'll help keep those oils at bay a little longer. This is the Ole Henriksen, I think I'm saying that right, but I could be wrong, the Cold Plunge Pore Mask. This stuff is a lot of fun just because when you put it on, let me just show you really quickly. The color of this stuff is green, like Wicked Witch of the West green. It's very cooling. It helps to balance the oils on your face. It helps to kind of keep you less oily throughout the day. This is not a miracle worker. Nothing is, in my honest opinion. So if you're looking for a good mask to use to help with the oil production, I do recommend this one. I think that it's good stuff. When I first really started getting into makeup, I tried many different moisturizers, and I never really thought about it like during the day when my makeup wouldn't wear very long, or if it started to like break up a lot. I never really thought about the moisturizer that I used that day. It never really occurred to me that it could have been from the moisturizers. So there for a while I was using the Confidence in a Cream from IT Cosmetics. This is a really nice moisturizer, but this is not one that I can wear before I put my makeup on, because if I do, it makes my makeup feel greasy. It makes it break apart a lot quicker. This is something that I would put on like overnight, as like an overnight heavy cream. Another one that I like for like overnight is the CEO Vitamin C Rich Hydration Cream from Sunday Riley. This stuff is another one that I can't wear before I put makeup on, because if I do, it's going to break apart more quickly. It's going to look greasy. It just doesn't work for me in that way. The moisturizers that I have to use are more mattifying. So one that I have really fallen in love with and I use quite a bit is the Original Skin Matte Moisturizer with Willow Herb. This is by Origins. This stuff is really unique. Like, it looks like a gel. I think it is a gel, if you guys can see the texture in there. It's kind of weird. It doesn't feel like real greasy or slippy. It just feels wet and cooling. And then after you let it dry, it feels a little matte. But if I'm going to be using a foundation that's really dewy or that is not really matte, then I'll go in with this first, because this will kind of help with that. Another mattifying hydrator that I do like is from Clinique. This is the Pore Refining Solutions. This one here can be a little finicky though. You have to be careful what you pair over top of it. This also does help minimize your pores a little bit. It kind of fills them in, and it does leave a matte base for you for your makeup application. All right, so starting out with primers. Primers, some people have mixed opinions about this. I've heard some people say that they don't think they do anything. They really hate primers. Some people think that it's an unnecessary makeup step. In my personal experience, I feel like it can really help mattify your skin a little bit more if you're somebody with oily skin. I mean, I personally can't live without a primer. I have to have one on. I notice if I don't use one, then my makeup doesn't turn out the way I really like. So I do have several here that I want to share with you guys. And if they're ones that you guys haven't tried out yet and you have oily skin, give them a try and see what you think about them. So the first one that I want to share with you is from First Aid Beauty. This is their Pores Be Gone Matte Primer. At first, when I used this, I put on so much and I hated it. I thought it was way too heavy on my skin. But I kind of learned with this one that it's something you have to use in moderation. And I really feel like that's the case with a lot of these primers. If you use them in moderation, you'll have better experience with them. It does make your skin appear a little bit more matte, a little bit more poreless, and it does help the makeup kind of glide over top of it a little bit better. I don't find that it makes my makeup break up any quicker wearing this, so I do enjoy this one. Another one that I really like, this one's an oldie but a goodie. This is the Too Faced Primed in Peachy. Right now I'm about halfway through this one, and I don't use this one as much as I used to, but it is a good primer. It does have this cooling effect when you put it on. I wouldn't say it's pore minimizing or anything like that, but it does give you a nice solid matte base when you get started, so I do like it. Okay, another primer that I really enjoy for my oily skin is the Makeup Forever Step 1. This one is like very, very similar to the Becca Evermatte primer. When you put it on, it kind of feels like you're smearing glue across your face, and then it dries down really quickly. And I'm telling you, it makes your face matte. So I would recommend if you're gonna use this, I don't know that I would put it all over your face. I mean, I guess you could if you have severely oily skin, and if you have it all over, then maybe this one would work all over. I use this basically in my T-zone area, and I feel like it really does help with the shine. And I picked up the Smashbox Photo Finish Super Light Smooth and Blur Primer. This one I really like, and I'm actually kind of surprised how much I like it, because I've tried the regular Smashbox primer, and it was just way too greasy and heavy on my skin. But this one, this is good stuff. I do like this one. Okay, so moving forward in this video, I'm going to apply like one product or a couple products from each category, and I'm going to try to make this quick because I don't want this video to be outrageously long. Okay, really quickly, if you haven't seen me mention these on another video of mine, something else that'll really help your oily skin if you really struggle like throughout the day with your skin getting crazy oily, invest in some blotting sheets. Doesn't have to be these. These are actually ones I received as a gift with purchase, or I might have gotten these in like an Ipsy bag, I'm not sure. Any blotting sheet will do. Okay, so the primer that I'm going to put on is the Smashbox Photo Finish Super Light Primer. And I'm just going to be a little conservative with how much I'm putting on. I don't want it to be like glopped all over my face. I don't want it to cause me any problems. I got 99 problems and a primer ain't one. Crunchy. My cat just sits here and judges me the entire time I'm filming a video. Like he's sitting on my bed just staring at me. I'm kind of wishing now that I would have picked up the full-size bottle and not the little mini travel size. Because I know more often than not, you're getting gypped when you get the travel-sized. But with as many primers as I have, I didn't want to waste it. If I go in with like a really mattifying foundation right now, it's going to make my face look dried out. It's going to make me look like I'm older than I am. It's going to make me look more wrinkly. So I have to find a way to kind of balance the two between looking fresh and healthy and keeping my oils at bay and not looking super, super matte. So what I like to do is mix foundations together. I very rarely use like just one foundation, and it's simply because of my oily skin type and because of the tone of the foundation shades as well. Okay, so now that my primer has had time to fully set down into my skin just feels smooth. I had the absolute hardest time trying to find something that suited my skin type that was like a BB cream or a CC cream, or something that's supposed to look like natural but give you a little bit of coverage. I've tried the It Cosmetics CC cream. It made my skin oily. I tried the Peter Thomas Roth Skin to Die For. Made my skin oily. I've tried like the NYX BB cream. I've tried tinted moisturizers. I've tried so many products. The one that I would wear if I need minimal coverage and I'm just looking for something to throw on real quick, maybe set with a powder and run out the door, is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. I actually like setting this with the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Blurring, whatever the new powder foundation is that they have. That's what I like to set this with, and it does keep it on my face quite a while. So if you haven't tried this one yet and you do have oily skin, give it a try. You might be surprised because it's like a gel cream type of, it's odd. This is really an odd formula, but I don't hate it. Okay, I did want to mention like stick foundations really quickly because that's also an area that I feel like if you have oily skin can be very difficult to find something that'll work for you. I know it has been for me and I've tried a lot. So I'm going to mention a couple that I really can't use. The Makeup Revolution. This one breaks apart super fast. It falls into all my fine lines and wrinkles, and within a couple hours it's breaking up on my face and looking oily. I'm going to continue to work with any of the foundations that I have because I paid money for them. So I try to find ways to make them work. Have not found a way to make that work yet. The ColourPop No Filter Stick, also have not found a way to make this work. It looks good for an hour or two, and then after that, it's super greasy and sliding all over my face. Now, talking about ones that I actually like, the first one that I think will be okay with oily skin, but you kind of have to really prep it properly, and then you have to really set it properly, is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation Stick. This one just looks beautiful on the skin. It really does make your skin, it's like that Your Skin But Better look. So I do really like that about this, but I really have to set it. I have to use something that will really lock it into place. I have to put it over top of a very matte base. And when I do that, it lasts quite a while for me. So I really do like this foundation stick. Another one that I just recently tried that I was a little bit blown away by is the Bare Minerals foundation stick. This is their complexion rescue stick. So it's kind of like, it's in the same line as this here. This one, when you put it on, I thought, okay, so if you have oily skin, normally foundation sticks, when you put them on, they start to feel greasy. Am I wrong? Does anybody else feel that way that has oily skin? Let me know, because I swear to you, whenever I use a foundation stick, it starts to feel heavy and greasy immediately. This one doesn't do that. This one is super weird because it feels like it literally feels like you're putting water on your face. When you touch it to your skin, it feels like it just feels wet. I honestly don't, there's nothing else I can compare this to. It's so unique in that way, and I really do like it. It doesn't wear very long for me, but if I set it properly, it's kind of like this one here. It'll last a little while, and it doesn't feel greasy, and that's kind of like what I look for, something that doesn't feel too heavy and greasy. So I do really like this one. It's just more of like a natural finish. It's not very high coverage, but again, I do like it. All right, jumping into like regular foundations. I'm going to mention the two that have been my holy grail, like hands down, cannot live without them. Will definitely be repurchasing these when they do run out. The first one is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. This one is for real. This one is serious. If you put this on and you have oily skin, it's going to wear through all day. It doesn't break up on my face. It doesn't wear off. Like, this one is super long wearing. It's not lying when it says stay in place makeup, because this mug stays in place. So, love this one. I will be repurchasing. It's almost out, and I'm like, oh, it's so expensive. But it's a staple in my makeup routine. And I don't use this alone. I usually mix it in with other things because the staying power on this is incredible. The second product that I have like that is the Lancome Tint Idol Ultra Wear. This is my second bottle of this, and I'm almost done. So I've already gone through 2 bottles of this in a year, and I have an ass ton of foundation sitting over here. So the fact that I've gone through that much of this one particular foundation says a lot. I love this one. It's just kind of like the double wear. It's not as heavy as this one, but it is very long wearing. It will keep your makeup in place. It's good to mix in with less mattifying foundations to help keep those in place. So again, these two are absolute staples in my makeup routine for oily skin. So another one that I like to use is like a mixer to help keep more natural or more glowy foundations at bay is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft. God, just too many words. Come on, Fenty. I never wear this alone. This one's way too heavy for me to wear alone. When I do, it looks really dry. It just makes me look older. I don't like this all by itself, but this one is a staple for mixing with more glowy foundations, more natural type foundations, those satin finishes. This is how I get those to stay in place. So, have to have this one as well. I need to get my kitty's balls snipped soon, because he'll walk around the house crying, and he was just doing it a second ago, so I had to stop filming. So the foundations I'm going to use today, I'm going to mix together the NARS Radiant Longwear. I'm going to throw in a little bit of the Estee Lauder Double Wear. And then I'm going to put in some Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte and a little bit of the Oma foundation. I know that's a lot. That's a lot to mix together. Don't feel like you have to do all that. Mainly the reason I'm doing that, well, obviously this is a more radiant foundation and I'm mixing in more mattifying foundations, but also the color's going to be way off. So I had to adjust for it that way too. You hear him? Let's start putting this stuff all on my face. This stuff just covers so well. Like those mattifying foundations I put in here are such full coverage foundations, which is important for me because I have a lot of discoloration. A lot of sunspots and redness and all that fun stuff. So I like to cover all of that. Now, if you're not somebody that has a lot to cover, you might not like these full coverage foundations, and that's fine. I'm sure you can find combinations that'll work for you. But these work for my problem skin. I know that most people don't have 80 foundations to mix together. Like, I know that. So, I would at least have a couple that you can mix to get the right finish. That way you don't have just matte foundations and just satin foundations and whatever. Because mixing really is where it's at. That's just my opinion, though. I have a hard time getting the proper finish with just one foundation. Especially with oily skin. And older skin, or more mature skin, I should say. All in all, pretty full coverage. So now we're going to pick out a concealer to use. With concealers, I've found I can usually get most of them to work pretty well with my skin type. Mostly. Even like the serum concealers work pretty well, just because the main place I put a concealer is underneath my eyes. Now, if you're somebody that uses like a spot concealer and you put concealer all over your face, then it's going to make much more of a difference to you if you have oily skin and what concealer you're using. Obviously, you'd want to go with something that's a little more mattifying, but you have to be careful because if the rest of your makeup look is not matte, or if it's like a satin, it might look a little bit weird if you have an all matte concealer on. So as far as the concealer goes, I don't know if I would necessarily say these are like great picks for oily skin. The Tarte Shape Tape definitely is. This is a good pick for oily skin because this is one that will mattify. This particular concealer will stay on your skin pretty much all day. Like even when I have other foundations on, even when I have set my face, when things start to like break apart on my face and things start to come off my face during the day, I usually still have like this concealer ring underneath my eyes because this stuff is pretty damn good. So this is one that I will use quite a bit. Another one that I like to use is the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer from Too Faced. This one's like a new favorite of mine. It's very brightening, at least my shade is. This is Swan. It's very brightening. It does stay on quite a while. This one's a little bit more hydrating in my experience. But again, my under eyes are pretty dry, so I don't really mind that. So I do really like this one. Another one that I've really been enjoying is the Jeffree Star Magic Concealer. This one is a little bit lighter coverage than what I'm used to, but I like it because it's not like extremely matte. So it doesn't look really clingy and patchy underneath my eyes. Okay, so I went ahead and added a little bit more of that NARS Radiant Longwear Foundation on top of what I had down, just because I didn't like the way the finish was looking. Sometimes that happens when you mix foundations together. One of them will kind of throw things off a bit. So what I did is I just put some more of the NARS over top, and I feel like it looks a little bit better. Then I took the Jeffree Star concealer underneath my eyes and down the center of my nose, just to give me a little bit of coverage, to give a little bit of that brightening effect. This is one that I really do like. I want to say for oily skin, but I think it would just work well for anybody. Next is an absolute essential in an oily skin makeup routine. If you don't do this step, let's put it this way. If you use a really mattifying foundation and it's super heavy like the Estee Lauder or the Lancome, you might be able to skip this step. If you use anything that's glowy, if you use anything natural, if you use anything that's a little bit more satin and you have oily skin, I highly recommend setting your face with a translucent powder or a setting powder, whatever. The ones that I've really been enjoying here lately is the Laura Mercier translucent powder and the Pretty Vulgar setting powder. This one I never would have bought like on my own. I think we got it, did we get this in a BoxyCharm? I think we did. and I really, really like it. It does a great job setting my face and keeping my makeup intact. Now, when it comes to my under eye area, I don't set that anymore. I used to, and I realized it was making my under eyes look so dry. So I don't set that area anymore. I just use a concealer that I know isn't going to move around a whole lot and that's going to stay in place. Here lately, I've actually been like baking a little bit. That's another technique that you can use if you're somebody that has really, really oily skin and you want to ensure it's going to last all day. Put a crap ton of powder all over your face, let it set for a while, and then wipe it all off. And I'm telling you, your foundation will stay. It'll stay in place. Might look a little bit dry, might look a little bit heavy, but it ain't going nowhere. And you can usually correct that heaviness or that like cakiness if you put a setting spray all over. It'll kind of like bring back that life, that, you know, luminosity to your face. So I'm pressing that Laura Mercier powder in all over my face here. And I'm just avoiding the under eye area because I know if I get those under eyes, it's going to look like the Sahara Desert under there, and I really don't want that. And I'm being a little crazy with it. I'm putting a lot on because I'm going to wipe some of this away when we get done. Okay, so for this particular video, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time showing you my eyebrow routine. I will just tell you the products that I used in case, you know, you haven't already seen any of my other videos. They're pretty standard. It's the same stuff I use every time I do my makeup. I switch between the Brow Gal brow pencil, the Precisely My Brow from Benefit. Sometimes I use the Brow Gal Fiber Brow Gel. And then I'll also use, if I can find it, the Gimme Brow from Benefit. So I'll just use those products in combination with each other, just depending on what kind of brow look I'm going for, whether it be natural, something a little bit more bold. But those products usually do keep my eyebrows pretty well in place, you know, all day long. Okay, don't mind the eyebrows; they're pissing me off a little bit. So this is where we're at. I think I say that in every single video. The only product that I used was the Brow Gal brow pencil. Okay, so moving on to the rest of my base. When it comes to like bronzer and blush and all that stuff, if you're looking for something that's gonna work with the oils on your face, if you're looking for something that will help combat those oils, I would recommend using a powder. Sometimes that can get really dry though. It can kind of make things look a little heavy, so it just really depends. If you're going to go the cream bronzer route or the cream blush route, I would just recommend doing that and then setting it with a powder. If you're looking for a powder bronzer, in all honesty, they all wear about the same when it comes to like bronzer and blush. It really just depends on the base you're putting them all over top of. So I really don't want to recommend any, besides the Huda Beauty Tan Tour, I really don't want to recommend any products for bronzer or blush because those can go either way. Really just depends on your base for those products. So for this video, I'm going to use the Kylie bronzer in Tequila Tan. I like this one for my skin tone just because it turns kind of almost pinky. It pulls a little pink on me, but I like the way that looks. It looks really like fresh and almost like sunburn. For the cheeks, again, it's really not important which blush that you use as far as like keeping it on longer. Unless, of course, you're using like a cream blush. In my opinion, if you're using a cream blush, set powder over top of it if you want it to stay on longer, if you do have oily skin. I'm going to go in with a powder blush from Benefit Cosmetics. This is called California, and it's this really pretty hot pink shade. I think this is supposed to be like a similar color to the NARS Orgasm blush. Okay, so what's next? We still have eyeshadow that we need to do, and we have to do lips and mascara. Now with those products, I don't think, I mean, when it comes to my oily skin, it's basically just the base that you need to be worried about. It's the foundation, it's the primer, it's the moisturizer, it's your setting spray, your setting powder. Like, it's all of those base products. So when it comes to like eyeshadow and lipstick and mascara, I really don't think about those products when I'm considering long wearing for my oily skin. So I'm going to go ahead and get some eyeshadow on these eyes, and then we're going to pick out a mascara, and we're going to pick out a lipstick, and then we're going to get into setting the face with a setting spray and the process in which I do that. So that's really important too. So what happens when you're looking through your palettes trying to find out which eyeshadow you should use and which color scheme you should end up with? That's what happens. Good child. I'm trying to think of something summery that doesn't involve orange, because when I look at what I wear on a normal basis and like my videos and whatever, I have a lot of orangey and peachy tones in those looks. So I just realized I didn't do highlight. What is wrong with me? God, no one was gonna say anything to me? Okay, so for the highlighter, I think I want to use Champagne Pop, and this one is in like 1,000 little pieces, but I want to use this one because it's like a pinky orangey shade. Oh, I love that. Love that shade. Pink eyeshadow? Maybe? Maybe? What do you guys think? Pink? Yeah, sounds good, right? Right? You've forced my hand. Looks like I'm going with pink. I don't want to do anything out of control. I want it to be pretty simple. I think I'm going to take the Ooh La La palette by ColourPop. I might use a little bit of the Huda Beauty Ruby Obsessions. Hell, if I'm feeling real crazy, I might even use some of the Flamingo palette from Violet Voss. I'm just going to dip into whatever I need to make a relatively simple eye look, because at this point I'm trying to hurry, because I always take way too long when I do my videos, because I don't know how to make things quick. This shadow is applying really nicely. I'm using the shade Soft Core from this Ooh La La palette. Super powdery, like lots of kick up in the pan, but it blends beautifully, and I like it. I like it a lot. I just realized I got foundation all up in my hair. See it? Looks ridiculous. Can't wait to go out in public like that. It's awesome. How did we get so off course? How did we get so far from simple and summery, and I really don't know how that happened. So right now I am like feverishly trying to find something to help this along because it's looking kind of out of control. I've been looking for an excuse to use this Jelly Much eyeshadow from ColourPop ever since I bought it. I haven't used it at all. It is this shade Close to You, and it's this really pretty pink kind of shimmery. It's beautiful. I've had it so long that it's even like starting to dry up a little bit. Let's try it with a brush first and see what happens. It's starting to dry up though. It's like not, I mean it's jelly, but not much. Jelly, not much. That was a bad joke. Oh, it's crumbling. We're gonna use the finger because it's kind of hard. It's barely coming off that brush. Ooh. Am I saving it or making it worse? You tell me. You be the judge. Because I can't tell anymore. Okay, so for this look, I think I'm going to do the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara. Last but not least is the lips. So when I'm looking for a lip, again, I don't really think of like my oily skin. Oh my gosh, I need the perfect lip for my oily skin. I just pick whatever I like, whatever's comfortable for me. Here's where we're at. I hope you guys really enjoyed the entire process getting to this like long wearing oil-free makeup look. Okay, so I did not think this through well at all. I went ahead and put my lipstick on, and then after I got done, I was thinking, man, I feel like I'm forgetting a step. What am I forgetting? I didn't set my face. Which isn't like a huge deal if you're just spraying stuff on, but I take it an extra step further. So I'm going to attempt to do this without totally screwing up my lipstick. As long as it took me to put it on, I'll be pretty hot if this messes up my lipstick. So the product that I use to kind of lock everything into place to make sure that those oils don't start peeking through real early in my day, and, you know, to kind of melt all those products together to make them look a little more seamless, make it look a little less cakey. I like the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This product has the perfect mister on it, so it's really fine. The only extra step that I would recommend is pressing that product into your skin with a beauty blender very gently after you spray it on your face. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to spray this all over. We're going to lock this makeup into place. First thing I do is fan. If you have one of those little personal fans, you go, girl. I don't have one, so I'm just flapping my arm in front of my face, hoping I don't hit myself. And then I'm going to take a beauty blender, and I'm just going to very gently press that into the skin. Uh-oh. I should have looked to see if I had specks from my mascara. Oh well. And that is it. That just kind of like solidifies everything. And again, if your makeup looks really heavy or really powdery, as soon as you get it really good with that setting spray, it's going to fix that. It's going to make it look a little more skin-like. It's going to make it look, you know, less cakey, less heavy. So that is the final step in this long-wearing, oil-free makeup look. So you can see where I got foundation through my hair. Sexy. Alright guys, so that wraps up this video. I really hope that you got something out of it. If you are an oily skinned friend such as myself, I empathize with you. But I hope that some of these products make your life a little easier. I hope that maybe some of these tips and tricks will help you out like they've helped me. If you try something from this video, whether it be a tip or whether it be a product, let me know in the comments how it worked out for you. I'm interested to see if any of the stuff that I've talked about today will help anybody else. I'm hoping it does. That's the whole point of this video. So, thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching in its entirety, if you did. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and come back and see me again soon. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!